Grab a book.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Perfectly Holistic Show. And I am Pam Roussel with Perfectly Holistic. And I am so excited to be here tonight with one of my good, dear friends from the Pacific Northwest, Ms. Rita Hogan. How are you today, my friend? It's so happy.
I am very good.
And guys, we
I
are
am
streaming.
super beyond great.
Awesome. Well, we have a lot to talk about that. Now, just a little housekeeping, everyone. We are streaming on Instagram, but we cannot see your comments because of the platform we stream from. So if you actually want to drop a comment into the show, go to the YouTube platform or the Facebook page platform, and you can see us streaming over there, and you can pop in all your comments. And if you are watching tonight, let us know where you are watching from. And I love to say hi. Oh, I guess one of my cats wants to visit. It's a cat show after all. So hello, everyone from Gunner. I think he was upset earlier. Does he remind you of Oscar? Or is it Carl? What you doing, buddy? Oh, sweet. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. And one of the things I wanted to
Hi,
let you guys
Kiki.
know, she is having some weather issues, but we're manifesting that energy is going to not interfere in our show. So if just in case we have a little bit of slow internet on some parts, don't worry, the show will roll on. So anyway, Rita, thank you so much for being here. And I am excited. I saw one of your posts about Rita 2.0. So you are working out and you are working on your diet and you're just going to make this 2025 year like the new Rita, right?
Absolutely. I call it Rita renewal. Rita
There you
renewal. I'm 53 and I recently got a baseline functional health blood work. Like they tested everything in its mother. And I'm actually, my biological age is 48. So I did okay there, 5 years, but I'm hoping to get my biological age down to 40. And I've been lifting weights in the gym, and I did a food sensitivity test. So I'm avoiding some foods right now for, like 3 months, and I'm working on my gut, and I got some frequency specific microcurrent yesterday. That was super fun. It made me feel, oh my God, I don't even know. It made me feel so, I mean, I have a lot of energy anyways, but it made me feel so alive. Like it upped my cellular voltage for sure. And I've been trying to do like 30 plus plants a week. I'm at 40 plants a week. I'm just having fun with it.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And you have a new book coming out. So before I forget, I want everyone to learn about your new amazing book that is launching February the 4th. Is that right?
February the 4th. And I know all you cat people are like, well, it says the Herbal Dog, right? But I will tell you that 90% of my book can be applied to cats. And in the back here, where I talk about all the different herbs, there is a section that says okay for cats. And everything, like in the back, it has every herb. It has the question, is it okay for cats? Use for cats. And it says yes or no. This one says yes, but avoid the tincture, right? So like I made sure that I included kitties, kitty in here because I love my kitties. I love
Yes,
my
you
kitties. So, yeah, and most of it applies to cats. So, you definitely can use it. But a lot of times people have cats and dogs.
mhm.
I have two cats. I've turned into a crazy cat lady for sure. It's happened over the last 2 years. I've lost my mind. And I have 5 dogs. So
You have a busy life and a busy house. That's what I'm gonna say. That many animals, I love it. I love it so much. They just
I
make
have
they keep.
lots of support from my family.
Yes, you do. You certainly do. Well, that's awesome. Well, I dropped
I do.
the link to your book website. So if you guys want to pre-order that, and I definitely want to get a copy too, um, just go to the caninedog.com, no, the herbaldog.com that I put in the chat, and then you can pre-order that when it comes out
The
there. So
herbaldog.com.
the
Yeah, you
herbaldog.com.
can order it right there.
Yay. That's so cool. I'm so excited for
Yeah, and
you.
you can order it on Amazon or
Okay, cool.
thank you. Yeah, Barnes and Noble, Target. Yeah.
You can order it through your website though, right?
Yeah, but it goes to either like Barnes and
Okay.
Noble,
Right.
Amazon, Target, Bam.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Gotcha.
traditionally published. So
Okay.
it you have to buy it at a bookseller.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, okay. I'm going to give you a little backstory. So several years ago, one of my friends, I don't even remember who it was, if it was a client or a friend, sent me a link to watch a video that was you teaching about gemmotherapy with dogs. And you were talking about three remedies, three products. It was birch, was it birch? It was juniper and rosemary. And I'll never forget, I was watching this recording. It was, I don't know where it was recorded or when, but I was taking copious notes, just learning all about this amazing therapy called gemmotherapy that I had never heard of before. So I wrote a little article about it, and then I started ordering it for my shop. And then when I finally met you, I felt like, oh my God, I'm meeting a superstar. Because I never thought in a
Just
million
an
years I would.
herbalist. Just an herbalist.
You're an herbalist superstar in my book. So anyway, I just,
I don't know how that ever happened, but
so I just wanted to give you kudos because you influenced me years ago before we even met. And I learned so much about a topic I had never heard of before. So I thought, you know what? If I haven't never heard of this before, then I know most cat people have never heard of it before. And primarily because you've become so well known as an herbalist and do a lot of work with dogs. So I thought, it's time to introduce you to the cat world and explain, introduce us to what gemmotherapy is, where did it come from, all that good stuff. So where should we start? I guess just tell us what it is.
Gemmotherapy is using the plant stem cells of a plant. So uh it allows the plant to go through its complete life cycle, which is very important to sustainability, which
Hmm.
any an herbalist is going to care about that. And number two, it uses the like buds, the young tissues, the embryonic barks, um the buds of flowers, the buds of leaves, germinating seeds, and it's just so fascinating because it allows for drainage of the tissues between the cells, which is very hard to clean. And
Hmm.
um, it allows for drainage of organs, which means that it's detoxifying those organs at a cellular level. And um, what I love about gemmotherapy, it really helps for toxins and
Mm.
it helps to get heavy metals out of the body. And those are the two things that we are really dealing with right now because our world is so polluted. And our air quality is, not the greatest because we keep cutting down all of our trees, which we don't need to do. So, um, I love that because, like things like our kitties and our doggies, aluminum, phthalates, right? Those are two things, fiber and plastics,
Yeah.
packaging,
Mhm.
aluminum, and forever chemicals and things like that. And um,
Oops, hang on. We lost you there for a second. Hang tight.
we're still lost.
Okay, I can
I
hear
see
you.
you. Can
I
you
can
see
hear
me?
you. Yes, I can see you.
Can you see me?
Yes, I
Oh,
can. We lost you after
the wind is blowing.
Yep, yep. It's okay. We'll just barrel through it. We'll get there.
Okay.
Yep. So
Okay.
you were talking about the chemicals, the air quality, the toxins in the air, and the forever chemicals in our home, and that's where it got cut off.
Yeah. Yeah. And like too much aluminum, too many, uh, poor water quality. These are all things that gemmotherapy can help with. Um, I don't,
You're good.
am I good?
You're good.
Um, these are all things that gemmotherapy can help with. And, um, and they also can help with and, you know, with cats, it's very easy to dose them because you only need a couple of drops. And that's what I really love about it. Uh, not a lot is needed. And one of the things with cats that we have to worry about, not worry about, but to address with gemmotherapy is that we need to use a lot of them have salicylic acid in them. And
Mm.
so what we do is we use what's called a 1 to 200. It's a homeopathic uh, um,
Mission.
gemmotherapy. Uh, those are completely safe for cats, and that's what I use. And still, I only use just a few drops. I
Mhm.
dose cats like a miniature dog, like a dog that's under 10 pounds. I normally dose cats with that, unless you have a really big cat, that's like 20 to 30 pounds. Then I give them, maybe 4 drops of a remedy, depending on the remedy. But
Mhm.
there are so many great remedies, like you mentioned, white birch and rosemary and all of these different ones. When I think cats, I think of um, kidney disease. And, there's one of them that's called nettle bud. And
Mhm.
nettle works really well with cats. And then there's birch. That's for detoxification. And then there's a one called heather, which the gemmotherapies tend to use the Latin names, so you have to know your Latin names. And heather is Calluna vulgaris, and um, heather is so great because it's you can use the with heather. It doesn't have salicylic acid in it, and so you can use the what's called a mother tincture, or the homeopathic version. Both
Mhm.
of those are um, available in commerce. Um, and heather is such a great detoxifier of the kidneys. You can use it with kidney disease. You can use it with kidney weakness. It helps with teeth and trauma and sensitivity to noise, which is all related to the kidney.
Yes.
Um, I really love it for cats, and I like to mix it with what's called nettle bud. So the heather and the nettle bud work so well together for kitties.
That's
Mm.
amazing.
Um,
Yeah, keep going.
oh no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, is there ones particular that you like for just liver support for cats?
Yes. So there's a couple that have liver support. Okay. So the one that you mentioned was juniper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And juniper, you use it for about 8 weeks. It helps with the kidneys and the liver.
Mm-hmm.
And then you stop. And then I usually use it just like once a week. Okay.
Yes.
So, and with cats, I use one drop, one or at the maximum 2 drops. And I
Okay.
use it twice a day. Uh, I'll drop it in their food or I'll drop it in their, like my cat Carl will let me put anything in his mouth. So, I just put in a little bit of water, that one drop in a little bit of water and put a plastic syringe in his mouth. He's no fuss. Some other cats, they're more fussy. So you can
Yep.
drip it into almost anything and get your cat to take it. It doesn't have much of a smell because you're only using one single drop. And again, you can mix it with a little bit of water. But I
Mm-hmm.
love juniper. And then milk thistle has a stem cell
Oh.
that I really like. It works a lot. It's stronger than regular milk thistle. It's more in my opinion, it's more detoxifying. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so the milk thistle is really good. And then there are other ones like tamarisk, which I use in cases of cancer in the liver, um, like in lymphomas. And another one that I really love that is not so necessarily, I mean, there is some liver in there, but it's also circulation, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah.
And that's sweet chestnut. And I love sweet chestnut. It helps with the lymphatic system, which is very important for our indoor kitties.
Yes.
Our indoor kitties a lot of times will have a lot of stagnation.
Mm-hmm.
They their lymphatics need help, and they have a hard time with air quality. So
Mm-hmm.
the ta- uh, the sweet chestnut helps a lot with that. It keeps the circulation going, which I love. Um, God, there's so many. Oh, so there's another one. It's called fig. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. It's called fig, and I use the gemmotherapy for the fig. Um, and I really love this one because it helps with that gut brain connection,
Mm-hmm.
and it's good for anxiety in cats. It's good
Nice.
for acid reflux. It's good for constipation. Um, it's good for food sensitivities. Anything to do with the gastrointestinal tract. It's great for like if you have to use antibiotics. It helps with liver detoxification. It helps with nausea,
Nice.
weakness in the nervous system. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a lovely, lovely um, it's a lovely remedy, especially for cats that get scared really quickly. I like to mix it with the nettle bud.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for those of you listening, there's a little book out there. My book is coming out in a couple of years on phytoembryonic therapy, which is gemmotherapy. But there's a book out there that's um it's this book. It's
Yeah.
Gemmotherapy for Our Animal Friends by
Nice.
Stephen Blake, Dr. Stephen
Mm-hmm.
Blake. Um, that's how I heard about gemmotherapy. He he um he published this in 2011. And so
Wow.
I read it shortly thereafter. I think I read it in 2013 and it blew my life up. I was like, and his book it gives you a little guidance, but it's written for cats and dogs. So
Yeah.
it's very nice and it goes through a lot of like symptoms,
Yeah.
like bloat, burns and scalds, conjunctivitis, and a whole, slew and it
Yeah.
gives you the remedies that you would use and how much to use.
Oh,
Um, it's a nice, it's a nice book. Like for instance, here's birch, which we discussed, right?
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
and this is solely about the 1 to 200 remedies. So those are the gemmotherapies. You have to use the Latin name to search them on the internet. I carry them as well,
Oh,
but
cool.
at canineherbalist.com. But you can find these you can find them on Amazon. You can find them on in commerce. Just search Gemmotherapy, Gemmotherapy. And then the Latin name of, like, if you look up fig, fig is going to go, you're going to put fig, you're going to put ficus. Look up what's the Latin name of fig? Ficus carica. Okay, so then you're going to
Yeah.
put ficus carica Gemmotherapy and it'll pop right up. Um,
Wow.
but what I like about Stephen's book is he will have common birch. Remember, you have to use the Latin name. Don't use what you think the name is.
Right.
Common birch, okay, which is Petula pubensis, um, and cats, 1 to 3 drops twice per day.
Nice.
So it will tell you exactly what to use. And I mean, it's really great because gemmotherapy is just gentle, but it's like tiny but mighty, right? And
Yeah.
you can use these remedies at home. And again, you're only trying to get your cat to take 1 to 3 drops.
Yep.
And the gemmos they have a sweet taste to them because they have glycerin in them.
Right.
And you just add a little water, always use a plastic syringe with your cat because you don't want them biting glass. You do
Yeah.
not want that to happen. And it does happen. So, um, there's so many ailments that you can
Mhm.
use the gemmotherapy for. And it really does give you like a kind of an easy way and a safe way to start using plants with your cats. And I love that. And yeah, and this book you can get it on Amazon. It's been out for a long time, but Stephen, it's very plain. It's I mean,
Yeah.
it's very plain. And I
Straightforward.
just use it as yeah, it's very, very plain. It's a plain, not a lot of reading. It's mostly just what what it is and what to do. And then he
Mhm.
goes through, kind of like what I like about it, Pam, is that he has a physical exam checklist for pets.
Oh, sweet.
Love that. And he tells you how to look over your cat to see, what you need to check for. I love
Mhm.
that. And he goes over
Mhm.
the ears, the mouth, the body. And but besides that, it's just basically this is the condition, this is what you should use, and he explains it. But Gemmotherapy, is very popular in other countries. Like I'm going to study it in Italy in May, and uh, it's very popular in Italy. It's very popular in Belgium, France.
Mhm.
It's part of their medical system. So,
That is so cool. Okay, I have so many questions. You just
okay.
opened up a can of worms for me. So this stuff is kind of like homeopathic versions of regular herbal tinctures, but it uses
Yes.
stem cell properties of the plant instead of like the roots and the leaves and things like that. Is that correct?
Yeah. So for instance, it does use the roots, but it uses the tiny little hairs that come off a root.
Okay.
Those are baby roots, right?
Yes. Okay.
And then a lot of the plants there's about 60 between the homeopathic versions. I think there's about maybe 48, 50. And
Okay.
then there's the mother tincture ones. Like the milk thistle is only available as what's called a mother tincture. So those
Correct.
are like 1 to 10, 1 part and then 10 parts,
Okay.
right? So
Yep.
1 part herb to 10 parts water. Or how if they're made with water, alcohol, and glycerin. And don't worry about the alcohol content. It's minuscule and you're diluting it and you don't have to worry about that. I
Right.
guarantee that. Do not worry. I've even used it with kidney failure. Don't worry. It yeah, you're not giving very much. So um uh what was the question? Sorry.
It's kind of like homeopathic version
Yeah,
of.
yeah. So I got it. I got it back. So
Yeah.
like yeah, the mother tinctures are stronger, and so
Mhm.
the dosage for the mother tincture for a cat is like 1 drop,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um so some of them only have mother tinctures. All the ones in Stephen's book are gemmotherapies. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, and they are homeopathic in nature, and they are very good. The homeopathics are very good at getting toxins out of the body. Immensely good.
Well, that makes sense because they're working at the cellular level, and it's
And they
so
have stem cells in them,
right.
and stem cells are undifferentiated, and they give the body what it needs, basically. And it's like putting a block into a foundation that's where the block is missing. Well, here's your part that you need to be strong. And some of the remedies only have like a 3-day window in which to pick the remedy, right? Some of the buds are only like they become a bud, and you have to use them before they start sprouting a leaf or a flower, right? So
Okay.
you like the nettle bud. First of all, the bud is so tiny that I don't even know how people pick it, probably with a tweezer. But
Right.
yeah, and they only have a few days to pick it.
Wow.
So, and some of them have like 2 weeks or a week. Otherwise, a lot of the chemicals that are in the embryonic parts, they have very fancy names like gibberellins and auxins and things like that. They're growth factors. Um, a lot of them disappear
Okay.
once the plant is starting to mature. So a lot of the remedies, uh, you can't make them out of mature plants. And mature plant medicine is great too.
Sure.
I use it all the time. But I use a lot of the phytoembryonic and gemmotherapies. And um another thing I really love about them is that some of their mature plant counterparts can get toxic as they get older because of our soil
Mhm.
composition, right? The
Yep.
pollution.
Yep.
So a lot of the phytoembryonic therapies don't have the toxicity or the heavy metals and things like that because they're not there for very long, right? They
Yes.
don't have the opportunity to get toxic. For instance, there's a lovely herb called horsetail,
Mhm.
and horsetail can suck the contaminants out of the soil.
Hmm.
But the gemotherapy of horsetail is about that big, just tiny,
Yeah.
tiny, tiny, tiny. And there's no toxicity in it. It
Right.
hasn't, because it as it grows it pulls. And
Yeah.
so um I love that about these remedies.
Mhm. They're cleaner.
Much
Less
cleaner.
less
Yeah.
chance of toxicity or being contaminated or things like that. Now, here's another question. If someone wants to use one of these remedies, for, I don't know, detoxing chemicals or heavy metals, can they use them safely along with aside other supplements that they're currently giving their cat?
Yes. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And you use them, you know, for I would say for detoxification, you're going to use them for, I would say, 6 to 8 weeks, maximum
Mhm.
12 weeks.
Yeah.
Like the juniper, you only use for 8 weeks, because it's a stronger remedy and it will push the kidney um, past 8 weeks. Like you want to in herbalism, you want the minimal dose for the maximum benefit. And
Yes.
the juniper, the people that have taught other people about gemotherapy found that juniper um, will cause problems past 8 weeks. So that probably much past probably more than 10 to 12 weeks. But you in herbalism, if you know something causes problems with continued use, you pick a safe distance from that issue, right?
Yes.
So I've never had a problem with anything with juniper from 8 weeks or less.
Is there like a general time frame apart from like juniper? But let's say, is it something that you would want to keep your cat on as maintenance or even proactive? in a proactive way, or is this specifically
Yeah,
for?
so there's okay, so there's detoxing environmental pollutants, like aluminum if you're feeding canned food. There's PFAs in canned food,
Yep,
helping detoxify the liver in the spring, doing
yep,
some detoxification throughout the year. Um, those are temporary,
yep.
right? Uh, and then there's more severe disease, that I've had people keep their cats or dogs on for long periods of time. Some remedies are safe for long periods of time and some aren't. I have a phytoembryonic um, course that goes through all of that, like if something can be give long term. Um, Another thing that's really great about these remedies is most of them are autoimmune friendly.
Nice.
And another thing about these remedies that I love, we're going to fangirl on these remedies, is that um, in herbalism, you have a very small in Western herbalism.
Mhm.
Um, that's like, the northern hemisphere. Um, in Western herbalism, there isn't a lot of herbs that are high in antioxidants.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like mushrooms are high in antioxidants. Well, the embryonic constituents of plants are high in antioxidants. So all of these remedies are super high in most of them, not all, but most of them are super high in antioxidants. And
nice.
so that really helps with longevity and aging. And again, it can clean what's called the interstitial fluid. That is the
Yes.
fluid that's between the cells. It's called the extracellular matrix. And it's this, it, these remedies do such an excellent job at cleaning that out, helping the body clean those out through the lymphatics.
Mhm.
And also the portal vein, it cleans out that superhighway. That's more of a water-based
Yeah.
toxin where um, the lymphatics cleans out your fat-based toxins. And, our cats have lymphatic tissue all over their body. Um, and again, our house kitties definitely need support with that. Or, you know, um, I was talking to a woman that I might be doing some formulating for yesterday, and she's from Singapore, and people in Singapore live in high-rise apartments.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And the higher you are off the ground,
Yeah.
the lower the cellular voltage in the body.
Mm.
You and your cat or anyone living in the apartment. Cats especially, the dogs there spend a lot of time inside. And then let's
Yeah.
think about how much time cats spend, right? Some cats never go out again.
No, it's true.
Okay. So
Mhm.
they're just breathing in all of that in-house air. They're not getting much exercise. Their lymphatics are just, so
Mhm.
these remedies can help bring up vitality because all of them increase cellular voltage and they increase antioxidant activity. And oxidation, we got antioxidant.
Yep.
Oxidation is what causes aging. So,
Yes.
that's why I could talk about these remedies all day long, Pam. All day long. All
Well,
day
let me
long.
ask you another question. So we kind of talked about it, whether you do this on a maintenance basis really depends on the type of condition or illness or
Yeah, and the way that
whatever
you
the
figure out,
routine is.
yeah, the way that you figure that out is you put your cat on a remedy.
Mhm.
I would give it for, depending on the remedy, there are some like stronger remedies you don't give a long time at all. But
Right.
you put them on a remedy. Most of them are easy.
Yeah.
Um, then you take them off the remedy.
Mm.
And if
Mhm.
they go downhill in any way, you put them right back on it.
Okay.
And then you do it over again. Then another 12 weeks or 8 weeks go by, and then you take them off it and see if they're better. Some cats may need it. Be like, well, no, we're still working on it because a lot of these chronic diseases, they don't happen overnight,
No,
right?
they don't.
Even though you start seeing the symptoms, you
Correct.
know, and that's the thing. It's like cancer,
Mhm.
cancer's in the body for a long time.
Mhm.
And you're like, oh God, my cat has cancer, right? But that cancer took a long time to develop. And so it may take a little while for your cat to be better. And I will give you some advice about making a protocol for your cat. And this goes for any animal, in my opinion, is one, the first thing you want to do, like say for instance, your cat had hyperthyroid. Okay.
Yes.
Let's just say the cat had hyperthyroid. So the first thing you would do is stabilize the nervous system. And this is in anything, any issue. If it had bladder thickness, you'd stabilize the nervous system. Then you would give something to stimulate the lymphatics at the same time.
Mhm.
And then, you know, after a week of that, you'd give all the first two plus the third one that's going to help the liver and the kidney function.
Yep.
And then you work on the issue. Because those things really need to happen. And
Mm.
the more well indicated a remedy is, that means the you got to figure out, there's like, if you had 5 remedies, right? And you looked at all the things that a remedy does. So if if you have a list of symptoms, the more symptoms your cat falls into those categories, the the better that remedy will be for your cat. So if the
Mhm.
first, let's just take 3 remedies. If the first remedy, your cat matched 5 symptoms,
Yeah.
right? The second remedy you were looking at, your cat matched 2 symptoms. And the
Mhm.
third remedy, your cat matched 8 of those symptoms, right? Then I would try the third remedy first.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
yeah, and um, some of those remedies will deal with all 3 of those things sometimes. When
Mm.
it's really well indicated, it deals with the nervous system, lymphatics, the liver, and whatever you're dealing with, right?
Yeah.
Um, the issue is, you need a good materia medica, which is a good resume about the plant extracts. And um with Stephen, you kind of just have to follow whatever he tells you, because he
Yeah.
doesn't give you that he doesn't
Mhm.
have that. He just says, for this, use this. Um, which is a good place to start.
Yeah.
Um, like with my course, I give you like human conditions and animal conditions, and if it's safe for kitties. Um, and you have all that and you can download that. Uh,
Sweet.
I I don't know if there isn't, I don't think there's any other books for gemmotherapy with cats. Um, there is a woman, her name is, hold on, I think I have her name is one second.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Um, I don't know if she has got um a book on animals. I think
Okay.
she might have some good blogs on animals. I'm not sure about cats, but her name is Lauren Huble. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's Hubele. Lauren.
Okay.
She's a homeopath.
Mhm.
She does homeopathics and gemmotherapies because they're in the homeopathic realm
Yeah.
for people. But
Okay.
she does do some animal work, but she's got some these little books, the Gemmotherapy for Everyone, and then she's got another one. Oh, wait, no, that's not it. Another one here, Gemmotherapy for Everyone, Restoring Your Immunity. Um,
Mm.
and these little books do really explain to you kind of how to use the remedies and how she uses them,
Yeah.
and being a homeopath. So and she talks about like she likes to use, there's these 2 remedies. One's called black currant and the
Yep.
other one is fig. And we talked about fig, but she likes to use black currant. Um, Sometimes she'll use those first before she considers another remedy. People practice, a lot of people practice differently, but I know
Mhm.
that she practices gemmotherapy as well, but I don't know what she has in the animal realm. Um, and then I have my course, but my book on gemmotherapy won't be out for a while. However, in my new book,
Yes.
when you go under the conditions, like if we went under, let's go under constipation or
Okay.
diarrhea. Let's go under diarrhea. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Mhm.
under diarrhea, I have some formulas that you can use, but I cover like, hold on, let me make sure I'm not talking to like crazy talk. Okay, let's go under warts instead. So, like I have holistic wart care. I've got all this information about warts, but then in the other, uh, at the end, it has helpful herbs and supplements for internal use.
Mhm.
And I have what herbs are good, what mushrooms are good, but also what phytoembryonics you can use for warts.
Oh,
Black
nice.
currant, dog rose, maritime pine, olive, and willow. So I
Okay.
do cover like
A
what
little bit.
phytoembryonics you can start using.
Yeah. Okay,
And
here's the go. Keep going and
what'd you
then
say,
I'll ask
Pam?
you. Keep going and I'll ask you a question. Sorry.
Oh no,
I
I'm
didn't.
good. I'm good. I'm good.
So, just out of curiosity, so if we were to look at something like your book and just you're recommending specific herbs for whatever condition, if you didn't have necessarily, so let's pretend for a second you didn't have the phytotherapy recommendations. Would those other herbs be like an indication of things you could look up for phytotherapy to see if there was a phytotherapy resource that would be good for that condition? Would that like give you a clue as to
Yeah, it's not, they're not completely interchangeable.
okay.
Um, but they're somewhat interchangeable.
Yeah.
Um, so like for instance, blackberry, right? Blackberry is very good for diarrhea in cats, dogs, horses, doesn't matter. Blackberry leaf. So the gemmotherapy of blackberry, Rubius fructos, fructicus or whatever, um, it it's good for so much more. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
blackberry leaf's good for a lot more too. But the phytoembryonic therapy can heal the musculoskeletal system. It can bring down pain. It also helps with diarrhea.
Yeah,
So it does a lot. Like it has an influence over the COX-1, COX-2 pathways, where I have not found that same effect in the leaf of the blackberry.
I see.
Do you see what I'm
That
saying?
yeah, yeah. So it can be a lot more depth,
Yes.
and not just one thing, but different areas.
I
Not
mean, you
just
know, the leaf, I don't want to be mean to the leaf, but the leaf also has a lot of depth to it, but just not it's not
yeah.
interchangeable. Um, but like, you know, the
Mhm.
hawthorn remedy,
The heart.
um, yeah, it deals with the heart.
Mhm.
Again, it's more on a cellular level with the phytoembryonic therapies, the gemotherapies.
Yeah,
But the homeopathics are very good at drainage, at cleaning, right? I find them very, very good at cleaning um and restoring immunity. And that's what, you know, like Lauren talks about, you know, once you restore the immunity, right? So many other things just go away. And
yes.
like I talk to my human clients, and applies to kitties. And these are subjects that people like shy away from, but I'm not afraid of them. And I'm just going to say it. Um,
Brilliant.
you know, cats need to have healthy poop.
Mhm.
People need to be pooping twice a day. I know a lot of adults that, oh, I only poop once every 3 days. You are heading for disease in a big way. And
Yeah.
so part of restoring your immunity is restoring your elimination health. Um, our kitties need to be pooping twice a day. You know, they need to be drinking adequate fluids. Um, And if they are constipated, that needs to be corrected. And
Yes.
so, um, you know, and that's a part of restoring immunity. So, you know, I love Lauren's approach in many ways in that once you restore the immunity, you know, things just start falling into place. And like with people that I've worked with, you know, people who are constipated, right? Um,
Mhm.
you clear that constipation, their acne clears up,
Yes.
their face, they have less wrinkles. Their face is brighter. They have more movement. They
Yeah.
feel better. They've got more energy. They think they won the lottery, right? And it was just because they were constipated. And
Right.
so, you know, that's definitely part of restoring your immunity, your energy centers, and having more cellular voltage. That, a lot of people don't know what that is, but it is basically the voltage in which cells operate at. Okay. And I can guarantee you 100% that every single cat in America who does not go outside every day, their voltage is lower than a
Mm,
cat who goes outside, okay? Who gets good ample time outside with their little paws on the ground.
yeah.
Um, and so we can do things that up their cellular voltage. We need to get that voltage up so that they can flourish and have longevity. And so, sorry, my hair is just doing something funky. Um, um, they need to have that type of energy, energizing their system, because low cellular voltage causes stagnation and it
Mhm.
causes disease. And like I said yesterday, I got this frequency specific microcurrent treatment. And oh my God, I swear that when I was done, I felt like someone gave me an upper. And like I said, I've got a lot of energy. Okay. But the next day I slept really well. And the next day I woke up and I was like a bright, shiny penny. I was just like, oh my God, I'm ready to take today. And,
Yeah.
you kind of forget about that and how that feels when we get used to something. And so, like with our animals, a lot of times you'll kind of like not realize your cat has stopped playing, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
then they get a treatment of something, they start feeling better, they get herbs or whatever, right? And all of a sudden they're zipping around the house, they're playing, they're engaging, they're having fun again, they're carrying their toy around, they're stalking things, you know,
Yep.
which is very healthy behaviors in cats. And
Yes.
um and you're like, oh my God, I just thought that was them. I thought that they were just getting older, you know?
Mhm.
And so you just don't really know it until it happens.
Right. That's a good point. Um, I have another question. I was looking over here at my questions list. What
Yeah.
about is there such a thing, and maybe I'm sure there is, using gemmotherapy in terms of acute cases like UTIs, like vomiting, like maybe
What
they
was
have
that second one?
vomiting or like
Oh,
a
yeah.
upper respiratory infection. I'm trying to think of what's common for cats. But those would be like really common
Oh,
issues.
yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
like, I think that when you look at nausea, I always like, well, what's causing it?
Mm,
But we really want to get rid of the nausea,
yep.
so that the kitty can feel better, right? We don't
Right.
want the kitty to feel like crap. Um, I think that just having the fig is a good remedy for nausea. Um, uh, I personally like what it's not a gemmotherapy, but I like a little bit of like I put a little bit of fresh peppermint. Cats love to chew on fresh peppermint. It really helps them with nausea. But like UTIs, I don't really see that as acute, Pam. Unless they're humping their toys and getting bacteria up their wee wee or in their um, I don't really see it as acute. However, there is a lot of remedies that can help with a urinary tract infection. The heather one helps
Mhm.
with urinary tract infection for sure. Um, but it is more of the, why does your cat have a urinary tract infection? And a lot of what at times happens is, for instance, Carl just had one.
Okay.
We're changing out a wall. He still has one. We're changing out a wall in the house, and he goes outside every day on his harness.
Mhm.
He's got one of those surfer cat harnesses that
Yeah.
isn't, but you're not supposed to be able, you can get out of them. Carl can get out of them, but he has to be supervised. But he goes out on his harness. But it's been pouring and raining because it's our rainiest month is November,
Yeah.
and there's lots of banging and noise, and he's much more sensitive than Oscar is. And so he starts peeing in weird places, peeing in front of me, like while I'm watching television. Oh, nice, Carl. And then he was starting to growl while he
Mhm.
peed. And so this is how I knock out a UTI. I know this has nothing to do with gemmotherapy, but this is how I knock out a UTI. But then I have to go, okay, why is Carl have a UTI?
Mhm.
I personally think it's stress,
That's
but um, and so that would definitely be an acute UTI.
yeah.
But there's so many chronic UTIs. Carl's only two, so
Yeah.
like there's definitely chronic UTIs where people get rid of the UTI and then live like it never happened, even though the kidney the kidneys need help. But for a UTI, for those of you listening, this is a very effective way to get rid of a UTI. One, petwellbeing.com.
Yep.
Urinary gold for cats. Okay. Number two, Adored Beast silver hydrosol. Number three, Adored Beast easy peasy.
Mhm.
One's a homeopathic, one's a silver hydrosol, and one's an herbal glycerate. Okay. I take and I get a 1 ounce bottle. I fill it a quarter up with the urinary gold. I fill it a quarter up with the colloidal silver and a quarter of the Adored Beast easy peasy homeopathic. I shake it and I give it to my cat, a whole dropper full 4 times a day. Carl weighs about 11 pounds.
Mhm.
Um, Bam, she gone. Um, Peeing in the litter box again, doing fine. Now, I do this for 10 days, no matter what their symptoms are. So I
Yeah.
do it for 10 days. And and if it returns, then I'm going to go bring him to the vet to just get a culture, but I've really never had any problems. That
Yeah.
is a very good, it's what I call my UTI emergency kit.
Mhm.
Um I love that. I can make my own glycerate of the UTI formula, but for people, just the urinary gold is a very good formula. Um,
Yep.
that one's really good, but you could make a UTI formula with phytoembryonics if you want to. You know, uh, I think that that's very fine, but that other one works almost every single time. But talking about the blackberry, so in gemmotherapy, it's called bramble.
Okay.
Okay. It's
Yep.
called bramble, and it's European blackberry, wild blackberry. And like I said, it's a fructicosus, I believe. Rubus fructicosus. It sounds very serious. Um,
Yep.
but it's an excellent urinary antiseptic. So
Nice.
it's an antiseptic, and so is the normal leaf too. That's why it works really good for diarrhea and diarrhea cleanup. But the gemmotherapy is an excellent antiseptic for the urinary tract infections. So we can do that, and then the heather works really well for urinary tract infections. And then one of my favorite, I mean, it's definitely one of my favorites for urinary tract support. So you would give, like, if you were just going to support the kidneys with heather,
Mhm.
you would give like 1 drop. Now, if you had a urinary tract infection, I would probably give 6 to 8 drops.
Yeah, bump
It
it up.
would be an acute is always going to be bigger. It's what's called a material dose. You're always going to up that dose for an acute issues.
Mhm. That makes sense.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Yeah,
Yeah. And then,
absolutely.
um,
You're gonna
yeah, for urinary tract infections, I find, those are good, but I really do find that just regular herbs work really well for that. Hi, Kitty. It just works really well for that.
I have okay, Stephanie has a question over here. She says, how do you stabilize the nervous system? Is that just part of the component of the Gemmo that you're picking out that matches, like, ticks as many boxes on the symptom?
Well, some of them can have a nervous system component to them, right? But you stabilize the nervous system with nervous system herbs. So a few of them, um, the mother tinctures that we talked about, they have things like passion flower, love that. Linden,
Mm,
which is Tilia tomentosa, it is lovely. So linden, in regular herbs, skullcap, chamomile,
yeah.
matriarcha. So with cats, you want to make sure that you're using German chamomile, not Roman chamomile. Okay. So chamomile's nice. Any lion's mane mushroom.
Hmm.
These are all ways that you can help the nervous system calm down. The fig phytoembryonic or gemmotherapy works well for the nervous system as well. It's good for the nervous system. So you pick what's called a nervine. I do deal with that in my book. I have an entire nervous system
Oh,
section. So it
yeah.
goes through the different types of nervous system remedies that you can choose from. And then you just go in the back of the book and you look those remedies up and you see if they're safe for cats.
Oh,
That's all you
sweet.
have to do.
That is
Yeah.
so
And
sweet.
yeah. Um, yeah, it's going to be it's going to help a lot of people. And so that's how you stabilize the nervous system. And then you would add a liver component, which you can, you could just add milk thistle as a
Yeah.
start, right? And the lymphatic system, most of the gemmotherapies really work well for that. Um,
Yeah.
uh, the one that I use the most is what's called sweet chestnut, and I just use one single drop of that.
That's
And
amazing.
it usually works well. Or calendula tincture, it's one single drop for a cat, or cleavers tincture, and it's one single drop for a cat.
Okay.
And a single drop is one dropper coming out the end, one drop coming out the end of a dropper, not a whole dropper. It's one little tiny beady drop. Yeah.
That's what blows people's minds. It's like, wait, that's it? I'm like, it's kind of like homeopathy. You don't need a lot to make a big impact. It's
No.
energetic, you know? So
And
I mean, it is
and
energetic.
like when I was talking about the urinary gold, now that's different because it's a glycerate.
Yeah.
So it's made in glycerin and it's different. I for a urinary tract infection, I gave him a whole dropper.
Yeah.
Because A, it's not going to hurt him. B, there's no alcohol. C, a urinary tract infection needs what I would call
I-
more of a hammer versus just a gentle push.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bagheera Arga says, love, love, love the Phyto course Rita put out.
Thank you. Who is it?
Bagheera Argo. That's the Facebook name. So thank you for the comment. That's so sweet. Um, okay, I wanted to see if there was like one more question that we didn't. I just make sure I got all of them. Um, so would using gemmotherapy like replace antibiotic use on some level? Does it have the power to rebalance to help the body rebalance itself and heal itself? Or do we still
Yes.
need antibiotics?
It depends. Like, for instance, a lot of people will use antibiotics for urinary tract infection.
Yeah,
Here's my shtick as
yeah,
an herbalist. I only use antibiotics if a dog or cat is going to die.
yeah.
Um, because of the fact that antibiotic use is directly correlated to cancer.
Mhm.
Um, it is really hard to get all of that flora back, and a lot of people will forget they gave antibiotics in the first place.
Yep.
Yeah, after 90 days, they'll be like, "Oh, well, he should be fine now. It's been 90 days." No,
No.
no, no, no. It can be 2 years before
Yeah.
that microbiome recovers if you don't do anything. So, yes, but it depends on what the infection
that you're
is.
dealing
You
with.
know,
Yeah.
some infections need antibiotics. These are internal infections, but
Mhm.
like there is purple coneflower gemmotherapy, which is echinacea, that works well. There's I like Oregon grapefruit. That's not a gemmotherapy, but it's a good antibiotic. Usnea is another good antibiotic. Uh, but it depends on, I like homeopathy. Like I like
Mhm.
Hepar sulf for the face. Um, so, and you can use them with homeopathy, which is nice. And,
Oh,
obviously a lot of them are homeopathic in nature anyways.
yeah,
Um, but it just depends on the infection, right? So
right.
you really want to see how bad that infection is. You can always take the antibiotics and see if you actually need to use them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the Bagheera Argo is actually Mary Argo. So you may,
Oh, I was like, I know a Mary Argo.
that's who it is. And Lori Hamilton Morris says, I love all the courses and events I have attended with Rita presenting. Oh, thank you for the love for Rita. We love that so much.
Thank you for loving herbs. Thank
Yes.
you.
Well, it's so nice to give people options instead of, if they are of the mindset like you and I, that I don't want to run to the vet every time something looks like it's going off the rails. If I can address it myself and nip it in the bud quickly and get on with it, I would rather choose homeopathy. I would rather
Oh
grab herb.
yeah.
I would rather do something, that is not going to destroy their immune system and their gut flora and support them, because their bodies know how to heal. We just have to give them the right tools, and we have to make sure that we do a good job, like you said earlier, of figuring out the why is happening behind the condition, so that we can address whatever stressor or trigger was contributing to the problem in the first place. So that's why I just like having tools. We're just trying to help
Oh
you guys
yeah.
build a toolkit so that you are more empowered and you have more options, because honestly, the veterinary world doesn't have a whole lot of options. Their toolbox is pretty small. So
Yeah,
that's
their
why
toolbox is very small.
it's very
Um,
small.
unless they take the time to reach out and
Learn.
figure out, if they want to do continuing education and they want to expand their practice. A lot of them are too busy to even think about that. But, but I do know a few of them that are rocking it. But,
Me
um,
too. Yeah, they're
it's just, it's hard. And we need to be able to deal with these little, like for Carl,
mhm,
um, I made sure he was peeing. It wasn't
mhm.
much, but he's peeing. And as long as urine is coming out his urethra, I do not have to bring him into the emergency vet. And even I don't care if it's a few drops, I've got something, right?
Mhm.
So, my thing was if he does not pee a stream in 24 hours, I will bring him in. He was peeing by morning, he was just fine. No more
Yep.
growling, we're just fine. And, and the biggest thing is just don't stop,
Yeah.
like right when the symptoms
I'm
stop. You
saying,
have to go, you have with a urinary tract, you have to keep on going at 8 to 10 days myself is what I do.
yeah, that's awesome. Well, this has been awesome. Any final words or advice or thoughts before we wrap up this show? I do want to put the link to your course in here. So if you can tell me where to go find that, do you have it
It
on
is
your website?
canineherbalism.com.
Okay. Okay. And I was going to go and I have your website up. So let me see.
Yeah, canineherbalism.com. It's on the homepage. You just scroll down and it's also under courses.
Okay, cool. I will drop, there it is. I'm going to drop the link in here for everybody. Um, so you guys can go check this out. Get this over here. And don't forget Rita's book, and the link to that website is in the comments as well. So, any final words of wisdom?
Um,
No.
Final words of wisdom. I pet it like this, I rub it. Um,
You can sleep with it
uh,
too.
I do under my pillow. Um, uh, I do. I've got a fluffy pillow and I put it under my pillow by me. You know, Just got to burp the baby. I love it so much. Um, uh, words of wisdom, just try to be patient. You know, you can't learn everything at once. You know,
Mhm.
my thing is, try to find as much information about an herb or a gemmotherapy, no matter what it is. Um, try to find as much information as you can, and try to make sure that the information comes from an herbalist. Um, you know, when you look up something on the internet, use the word monograph. Um, when you're looking up a plant, and then put herbalist. So if you were doing milk thistle monograph herbalist, then because you want one that's written by an herbalist, because what's going to come up right away is WebMD,
Right.
Healthline, all those things. And they are not written by an herbalist. So
True.
that's important. So just try to do your due diligence. Um, and before you give your animal something, or buy a already pre-made formula.
That's smart. And you carry those in your shop, right?
I carry a lot in my
A lot
shop.
of
Yeah,
them.
I
Yeah.
do. And I also have a thing called monthly monographs, which is it's a new herb every month.
Oh, gee.
And I give a detailed like downloadable PDF of each herb. And it's $12 a month, and you can quit and rejoin at any time, and you get access. You can download all of the herbs. It's you know what, it's such a weird format, but it's just kind of a way of supporting my work, and then you could learn about an herb every month. But just take your time
Yeah,
for sure.
that's awesome. Well, this has been so informative. I learned so much. I always learn so much from you, and it's so much
Thanks,
fun.
Pam.
Yeah. So thank
Thank
you
you.
guys for joining us. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. And thank you guys for supporting Rita in her book. And check out her course if you want to learn some more. So, anyway, thank you guys, and hope you have a great rest of your evening. And we'll see you next time. Bye,
Bye
everyone.
bye.
Bye. Okay. All right.
Is it done?
It's done.